2 is recording. And looks like we're live. Alright, sweet. Alright, Esplin. Alright, usually I would say, thanks for coming, but thanks for having me. To quickly summarize, I give you a little rundown on what I'm looking to accomplish, right? And like I said, you caught my eye because being a small business owner, especially on the res, I can't imagine that it's something simple. I know I give a lot of criticism to the reservation because of how many hoops they make their small business owners jump through, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have such a failing economy on the res. Can you give me a quick summary of what it took for you to get here?
So let's see. I was working out in Flag, and then I decided to take a huge step in trying to open my own business here in Tuba.
Yeah.
Once that opportunity came up, I called Navajo Nation Shopping Center. I asked if they could sit down with me and talk about reopening this place, because it used to be a salon before.
Yeah.
And she was willing to come out here and just go through the space with me, and I did. And then, I just gave her what I wanted, what I really wanted the salon to look like if I were to open.
Yeah.
So, she was interested in that. So she said, yeah, we can do it for you. It was just, I thought it wasn't going to happen for me, but she was very nice enough to take the time to see me, and from there, that was back in 2012. And so after that, I just kind of bought what I needed to buy and out of my own pocket.
Really?
And and then slowly 2 months, it took me 2 months to get everything in here. And then once I got everything in here, they opened the salon. We opened April 2nd, 2012.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I used to get my haircut here because I went to school up here
Yeah.
at Gray Hills, and I got my haircut here when it was with the original owners, or I don't really know them, but I remember I guess you could call it a particular story. When I was a senior at Gray Hills, I ended up graduating, and I think my brother's the one that told me to interview you. He I don't know if you know him, his name's Garrettson.
Yeah.
So Garrettson, he actually dragged me down here like the day of my graduation. I got a haircut here, and I think that's the first time my first experience with this place. And but he's the one that told me, like, if you're looking for natives especially natives who are entrepreneurs. But so, like, was it always your passion? Was owning a salon or cutting hair? Or?
It wasn't a passion. I think at the time when I was in the salon industry, I never really thought of it, because when I first started cutting hair, I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to work, had to be at work whenever they needed me, and sometimes, I don't show up for work because I was still young.
Yeah.
But I think that changed in 2010. But, I think once I got my life kind of situated to where I'm sober, I've been sober for 10 years now, going on 11.
Wow.
So I think once I started living that sober life, I kind of wanted to really think about life. So that's when I started wanting to open my own business. And it was just, at the time, I think it was during the recession they had. I don't remember what year it was. And all the salons in Flagstaff they weren't doing so good. So I needed to find a place to work to where I could make money to support my mom and my dad, my family, and just a salon where the community can come and feel welcome, and just anybody who because I don't judge anybody, and that's what I kind of wanted to do for the salon. You know,
Yeah.
anybody can come in here. So that's where I really found the passion, and I think that's when I thought, you know, I think I want to open my own salon. So it didn't happen until I think 2012 when I really, really thought about opening a salon. But yeah,
that's pretty cool. My wife was telling me, like, she's like, "Are you gonna let her cut your hair?" And I was like, I could use a haircut, but one of the original ideas of when I started what I was gonna do, I actually wanted to not sit down. I actually wanted to engage in things with the people who had a passion for the craft. So, for example, there's this girl who I initially was talking to. She was I believe she was sponsored by like some fishing brands and whatnot. But I was like, hey, I could fish with her. I could go fishing with her. There's another friend of mine, and she works with national parks, and I was like, I would love to like go for a hike with her. And so one of the things I want to do is like, I wouldn't cut any hair, but I could like have you cut my hair. Or, like it was supposed to be like I do what they do kind of podcast, but I was like, nah,
yeah,
too scary. But like back to what you said when you started your business, was that scary? Because you said it was like during one of the low points of the economy, right?
Yeah. So it was scary for me, not only because of the recession, but as around the same time too, I started to transition. You know, of course you do know I'm a trans woman, and you know, those are the pronouns he, she or her are my pronouns. And at the time I wasn't on hormones, and I was transitioning. I think I was starting.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard for me to come out here, and I didn't know how she or he, because I didn't know who was coming, how they were going to approach me. Are they going to say, you know, we can't just because of how I looked?
Yeah.
Because at the time I didn't look like this.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work to look like this. But she came in and she wasn't judgmental, because I just kind of, every time I see someone or I talk to somebody, my initial thought is that they're thinking, is this a man or is this a woman? And it gets me nervous, and it gets me I just don't want to be like this for now. Like now, it's very nerve-wracking for me. But she was nice enough, and I don't think she I don't know. I can't read people's mind, but that's how I feel towards other people who I talk to. But it was difficult, and I was scared that she wasn't going to take me seriously. So, but I just had to do it, because if, let's say, a year from when she sat down with me, I would have regretted.
Yeah.
So I kind of said, I'm just going to do it, see what happens. If she says no, she says no. At least I tried. But, you know, things were in my favor, and she was like, yeah, we'll do it for you. So that was when I was happy. Told my dad, and that she said yes, so I need to start buying equipments and stuff like that. And my dad was happy for me, because he was also a manager for this store in Red Lake back, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I kind of had my experience. Is it experience? Yes, experience working there with my dad. And then I did go to Dinek College I did some classes, and just working in Flagstaff with what the other owners did, how they ran the salon. I kind of just took some of those and brought it here, and that's how I just started when this place opened.
Nice. Do you feel like is the what's the word, not is the market here competitive? Because I think there's only like another barbershop up the road, right? Is that one
on Main Street?
There used to be 3.
No, that's the same one. I think
Is it the same one?
it used to be someone else's barbershop, but she sold it to who is there now.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, so with Tuba being such a small place and you guys being the only salons in town, do you feel like the market's competitive, or do you get people from border towns and whatnot?
I don't think there's that competitive thing going on here because there's only 2 salons. I think if there were more than 10, 20, 30 salons, you know, some Flagstaff has over 100 salons. That's probably when I would think it is going to be competitive. That's
Yeah.
when you start going out and promoting yourself, and just giving out some hair cutting deals or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think right now, I don't think I have that with them.
You don't have that, like, you don't have a fear of customers flip-flopping or...
No, I mean, if we're busy here, we would tell them there's another salon up on Main Street, and you know, it's, if they want to go, they can go there. But you know, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said, that was way before. I'm gonna say like a couple of years ago when I had more staff here.
Yeah.
But you know, it's different, and like I said, I have my own clientele. I think I'm gonna say 75% that live here are my clients, and then the others are just like around Tuba City area.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not afraid of not closing down, but being slow, or
Yeah.
you know,
Do you feel
because
like you're comfortable?
yeah, I feel I'm comfortable where I'm at with my clients.
That's awesome.
And I don't feel like I have to be scared. And I think the same goes for every Cameron and Christy, who are my other hairdressers. I think they're comfortable where they're at now. I mean, yeah, it's good to have our clients to refer other client, you know, their friends, family, relatives to come here, but that's, you know, what we usually, that's our livelihood.
Yeah. So when the pandemic really hit, did you have to
So
let people know, like, I can't pay anymore, or how did that go?
Well, when the pandemic hit, that was in March, we closed for 2 months. I have had a few of my clients reach out to me and wanted to pay ahead of time. So I would have to keep a, you know, paper, write on paper who paid, and then when we open back up, that's when I call them and they came in. But it was just a few people, and I don't know how she did it, and I don't know how Cameron did it, but you know, that's all they did. And some of them were really, really nice. They wanted to help, but you know, I can't. I don't like getting help from people.
Yeah.
I think that's just the way I was raised. So you know, that was nice of them to do that. So when we opened back up, it was good. I had her come in before anyone else, and then, you know, it was fine. It did hit us, affected us, and you know, we're still here though, and you know, we're doing good.
That's awesome.
Even though we're not really where we used to be at, we're doing good.
I know, like, 'cause I work at Walmart, and when the pandemic hit, you know, like, it was a ghost in the store. But then eventually people got more comfortable with being, you know, living the norm at that part of our lives. And then after about, I'd say after about a month of the pandemic, we could not get clippers. We couldn't keep clippers in the store, and I got pretty bad. I got pretty scruffy, but it was funny. Did you get any help from the first stimulus as far as being a small business owner? Because I know, like, some businesses got. There's a lady that cuts my hair in Page, and what did she get? She had to fill out some paper. It was her monthly expenses, and she got like a month and a half paid. But that was like after 6 months of kind of poking at the government, like, for help. Did you get any kind of help like that?
I did get help from when they issued the PPP stuff back in March or April. And I just forward that to my accountant out in Flagstaff, and she filled it out for me. And I think about a month later, I received the funds, and it was in the business account.
Yeah.
So I did get help from the government, and then I did get help from Navajo Nation too.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Was it with the hardship or?
Yeah, the hardship
Oh,
for small businesses.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Okay, I didn't know that the hardship gave money to certain small businesses. That was one of my questions, or one of my thoughts was.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the hardship money went to like providing water, right, to communities out there, and broadband internet for kids for schooling. One of the things I always wondered about was small businesses and how the Navajo Nation was going to take care of the small economy. But that's awesome. That's really cool. Do you plan on franchising with your brand? Like, do you want to open up more stores that are like in Kianta, Chinle, or?
Having one is enough.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
The only thing I would love to, but it's just you can't find reliable hairdressers. I'm very fortunate to have these two here, and if I had hairdressers who I could rely on, I think I would open another one. But like I said, I thought of it before, but right now it's just like I think this is just where I'm most comfortable at, and I don't think I'll branch out.
Interesting. So like, do you I don't know how it's possible, but do you create your own like hair products? Do you have any?
No, these are the products that we have here are just name brands, exclusive, that you can only find these in salons, and we have varieties of products here, but I just go to our distributor and buy what I can and bring it here, and then and just sell it to the community.
Nice,
but no, I don't make my own brand.
I wonder how that would work. You probably have to establish some kind of deal, huh? With like
I think so.
hair company.
Yeah.
I think that'd be something you should definitely look into. Like, that's an extra form of revenue.
Well, that's what I was thinking of one time. This was like when I was still living in Flagstaff.
Yeah.
But it just didn't really became something important to me, because I was just more focused being here at work, and it was hard because I'm running a business and also cutting hair. So I really didn't have time to do a lot of stuff.
I see. Well, if you ever do, just let me know. I'd definitely buy it.
Yeah.
I love supporting small businesses. I try to shop at small markets. Do you think life will, in a sense, go back to normal after COVID, as far as your personal life and then working here at the store, like, or do you see the mask wearing as the new norm?
So, it's almost been a year since COVID, and I think a lot has changed, and I just really, I don't know what I was wanting to close the shop. I was wanting to just pack up and leave, find another place to work, start all over, start fresh.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I wanted to do, but I think sitting down, being alone, and thinking about what I really, really needed to do, I just decided to keep it open and just keep going. And I just really, I thought I was going to close and just start somewhere fresh, but then again, it was just like, if I do move somewhere again, it's going to be the same. I can't run away from the pandemic. It's going to be somewhere else again.
Yeah.
And it's affected the salon, but I think it didn't affect how passionate I am about cutting hair. So that's where it's at now, and I think we're going to keep going until I feel like it's time to close up. But I think we're going to be here for another 2 years.
That's awesome. So like by the new norms, I'm talking like, do you it's all appointment based now, right?
Yeah. So it is appointment only, and we require everyone to wear masks that are getting haircuts. They can't take it off. We have to have them keep them on, and my hairdressers also. We all have to wear masks, and men's haircut usually takes about 30 minutes, and then when we're done, we add another extra 30 minutes to clean, wipe down the chairs, wipe down the shampoo bowl, and just get ready for our next one. And we don't use the same tools. Tools, for an example, are the combs.
Yeah.
Once we use them on a client, we just put them in our dirty comb box or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And we get a clean, fresh new set for the next one who comes in. And then the capes are the same too. We have enough capes to probably do at least 20, 25 clients a day.
Yeah.
So once we're done with that cape, we throw it in the hamper and we get a new one for the next client. So, we take it really seriously, and we book out really quick. Like when we just opened back up yesterday, and I'm already booked for the whole week.
Wow.
And next week, I think I have a few openings left. So, but we do take it seriously here, because it's just not for me, it's for my staff, it's for the community. We want to we want to really spread that. We just want everyone to know how serious this is, and so that's where it's at now.
So how about after everybody, I don't think everybody's get the vaccine, but after a large majority of the community is vaccinated and life kind of looks like it's going back to normal, people are going back to sporting events, do you feel like your rules are going to adapt to the...
I think only time will tell for that. I don't know. I can't say what's going to happen. Even though with the vaccine and all, and everyone's getting vaccinated, it's just, we still are probably going to be scared because we've been doing this for a whole year now.
Yeah.
The waiting room's not even, we're not using it.
Yeah.
So everybody just has to wait in their car until we're done. So it's going to be kind of scary having people come back in here. I think it's going to be kind of scary having people come back in and sitting in a waiting room, because you're just thinking about what happened just a year,
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. I think only time will tell what's going to happen. So I'm just taking it day by day.
I see. That's interesting. So moving away from a little bit from the business aspect, I did want to ask you kind of, before, when we were communicating prior to this, that initially this was supposed to be politically inclined, right? And one of the things that I've always wondered about is, how do you feel about the movement towards proper pronouns, or the concept of it? Do you feel, because for me, it's not a big deal. It's really not an inconvenience in my life. It doesn't bother me. But when it does start to poke at me is when the idea starts to regulate free speech. Telling people what they can and cannot say. So for example, like Twitter will ban you if somebody identifies as however they choose to, and then you call them something else. Like Twitter will ban you.
Yeah.
And for me, I get it. Like Twitter is their own platform; they have their own rules and regulations. But when it starts to regulate your day-to-day life, then it starts to bother me, because like I said initially, this whole thing was supposed to be really politically based. I really enjoy politics. What's your approach to this new movement towards proper pronouns?
Well, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't really know the whole aspect of what what you were telling me about that. But I think it's a good thing. But growing up from the early 90s to 2000, it wasn't such a big deal for, calling whoever who. But I don't know. Right now, I just feel like, for me, for an example, I would prefer people to use she or her pronouns. And then with the whole Twitter thing, I think that's that's good that the people are beginning to change that. Not a lot of people, but some people are. I just think if I see someone that looks male, maybe they're going through a transition, and I see them wearing clothes, female clothes, I'm gonna probably call them she. I see people wearing, I just see people and then I'll think that. But now it's just, I don't know. It's really difficult. It's a tough thing to be in, especially on the reservation too. But I don't know. I don't follow a lot of politics. I try to stay away from politics.
Gotcha.
Because it's just it just makes me, I don't know, upset, and I just don't like it.
I got you. Do you think how much knowledge do you have about? Because I don't know anything about the the genders that I want to say have been established as of lately. Like there's I know people consider non-binary a gender, things like that. I don't know anything about that. How do you?
So, like you, I don't know. Like I said, I was, back in the 90s, it was only LGBT, and now they add Q, or I think it was LGBTQIA or something. But it's just, I don't know, it's just too much. But I respect, what they want to be called as, and I try not to use words that will make people upset, but it's really hard to do that now. I don't know, it's just, I think it's different if you're in the LGBT community. Because when I was not growing up, but when I was in my 20s, I would call my gay friends girl, she, and now you can't call a gay man she because they get upset about it.
Really?
Yeah. So now it's just when I have a client that I know who is a good friend of mine, I'll say girl, hey girl, or she. But if I have a client who is gay, I'm not going to say that to them because I don't know what they want to be called as. So I just try to use their names.
I see.
But I guess that's how it is in the LGBT community. And when I see a trans woman, I'll call her she. When I see a trans man, I'll call them he.
Interesting. Yeah, for me it's the same. So I think I have no problem with people who it really doesn't affect my day-to-day life. again when it starts to regulate certain rule or laws in the Constitution or things like that, then that's when I'll speak about it. But yeah, like you said, if a trans woman, if I happen to see this individual who's dressed very feminine, I have no problem using she or feminine pronouns. Same thing, masculine clothes. It's just based off of perception, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I perceive it. I think when they start diving into the non-binary or however many other genders that they, I don't want to say, I don't know how to. I really see that's the thing. But what bothers me is walking on eggshells talking about these kind of topics. For me, I kind of question why would you want that kind of language? Why would you want to be offended by so many things? I get it, but a part of me is still questions, why. How do you feel about trans people in sports participating, like a men who transitioned to women participating in women's sports?
I'm all for trans men going, in sports, wanting to do. People have to see that they're men, and they should participate in sports that they feel comfortable in. Because in my mind, if I ever go and want to be a volleyball player, and I'm trans, I would want to play with the girls, because my physique, I think, is not petite, but I'm not big in the shoulders, and I'm that might offend people, but I think because I'm trans, I can say that. But I would want to be playing with girls, because like I said, when I go running, I'm not fast like men. I can do 10:30. My pace is like 10:30. Men are less than that. So I can't keep up with men if I were to run with men. I'm not strong as men, and I do work out, but I'm not looking to be stronger, just to tone. So if they want to play, I think they have every right to play with, trans women play with women, and trans men play with men. It's just the way I see it, and I don't know why people make a big deal out of it. They kind of try to find every little thing to make it not acceptable. They kind of take it apart, like, just because she's a trans woman doesn't mean that, because some people will look at it as, oh, she's strong. She won. That was my thing too with running, like half marathons. If I were to, let's say, place first in my age category, and I win not win, but I have I finished the half marathon in how would I say it, quicker than everyone else. And people who know I'm trans will probably say something about it. People who don't know that I'm trans will not, but that will kind of out me as a trans woman. Not that I'm hiding from it. But people can hate and say things to ruin not your reputation, but ruin your life, to make it feel like it's bad. I hope that makes sense. But so like I think they should just play where they feel comfortable, because you don't want to see someone like me playing football with all these big husky men.
How is that possible?
I know. So like that, I know the topic came up like when there was a lot of controversy with I think there's this track event that happened somewhere in New York. Did you hear about this, where they give scholarships to first, second? I think it was, I'm doing this off of memory. This came up a long time ago, but they give a scholarship to first and second. And so what happened was there happened to be two trans women. All right, you mind if I just in the world? Okay, so like I was saying, I know that the topic came up in politics a lot, because I think it might have been 2019 or 2020. There's this event that goes on in New York where it's a track event, and I think they give scholarships to first and second, and there happened to be only two trans women that were participating, and they ended up taking first and second, by a large margin. And so it sparked a lot of controversy, because some people were saying that they stole scholarships from these young girls. I think it was a high school event, and then I think that's where like you were talking about, they try to pick apart and pick up every little thing. One of the arguments on the right as far as keeping trans people from participating in their preferred pronouns sport, is that males have a higher bone density, and those are things you can't change, or the testosterone levels prior to transitioning, because I really don't know what the requirements are, but that's kind of where it where it started, is where they stole 2 scholarships from the young girls. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think
I mean, if they do see themselves as women, I think they should have just given it to them. I'm on hormones, and I used to be on Sperno something, but for short it's called Sperno. And Sperno is a testosterone blocker.
Yeah.
So I would take that every day, and it just really depends on the dosage. It's up to my doctor. I'm at 4 millimeters of estrogen too, and at the time I was taking spironolactone, but I'm not on it anymore. But every 3-4 months I would go and see my doctor and do blood tests, blood work, and then she would call me and tell me where I'm at with my hormone level and my testosterone level. And every time she tells me that my estrogen level is where it should be, where real female, their hormone is about the same as where I was at, and then and she said there was no sign of testosterone. So if they want to break things down like that, they should break down all of that. Also, they probably should take blood work also and see where their testosterone levels are at. And because, like I said, my testosterone, I have no testosterone in me whatsoever as of 2 weeks ago. So that's just what my doctor told me, and my estrogen level is pretty much normal, or hormone. So I don't know if they went and did that for the 2 ladies who won, but there's also women who take what are they called, athletes who take steroids. So women do take that too, and men take that as well. I mean, some of these real women who are in track do take him. I mean, I don't know if that was something, that race they had. I don't know if they aren't supposed to be on it. Were they testing for drugs? Were they, I don't know. I've never heard about this race. So if they weren't testing for drugs, maybe they were on steroids for other stuff too, but I'm not sure.
Gotcha. I think, what was I going to say? I'm trying to blank. Oh yeah, I think the reason why, like how you were saying, they should get the estrogen levels to meet born females' levels at that age and ratio. I think the counter argument to that, and it's for trans people, I think, is like they have no right to your medical information, and I think that's like the counter argument to that is if men transitioning can get their levels to a certain point, then they can participate, but then the community argues like you don't have a right to the medical information. Do you still think like
who doesn't have the right for the medical records?
So like people who are, I guess, running the sport, or I guess people like the public in general don't have a right to their medical information, only because it's the idea that what's the word? I guess your medical histories probably should be only between you and your doctor. So I think the argument is that the only thing they should know is that you're a trans woman, and that should be enough to participate. And having your estrogen levels publicly out there, so that you're competing at a biological woman's
Yeah.
standard.
I think if we had a so let's say if there was, let's say, a celebrity who is trans, who's out, who ran and won this, and she has the money to do whatever she wants. I think medical records will be brought out with her doctor or whatever. This is just an example. I mean, I can also probably get medical records from my doctor and give it to them. You know, it's really up to, I think, me, but I just don't know. I think if you have the money, it would be something different.
Yeah.
But for trans women who aren't in the public eye, I think it's more different for them. But like I said, I think medical records can be given to us from my doctor. I don't know. I've never been in a situation like that, but
Gotcha.
you know, like I said, they're just trying to dissect a lot of things just to make this trans woman not compete and take away whatever she won, because it's just it's a place we live in.
Gotcha.
I wish it was something different, but it's been going on for a long time, and you know, I think it's gonna take a long time for it to be resolved too.
Gotcha. My battery's a little low. I'll edit this part out again. All right. Oh, what were we talking about? Oh, you said that.
The two trans women who.
And then you said that.
It's gonna take a while for things to change.
Gotcha. All right. And so. Yeah, like for me, yeah. So I think maybe not change, but you know, to accept, right? To accept.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while. I think the community of Tuba is somewhat changing from being here 15 years. I think when I first started here, it was kind of hard for some people.
Yeah.
But now, as a native trans woman running.
You said the community of Tuba is.
Yeah, I think it's slowly changing. But like I said, it was something that wasn't accepting before. But as a native trans woman, I think a lot of people know that I'm trans here.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make them not come in. And then people who do not know me see me as just a woman.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy that, you know, they see me as a woman, not a trans woman, but a woman. And I think that's something that most trans women want to hear.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm very open to talking to people about me being as an open native trans woman.
Yeah.
Who has her own business, and you know, that's just the way I've always been.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide anything from anyone. So, you know, I mean, I'm hopeful that things will get better for us.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the fact that you're a small business owner on the res is awesome, and then you know, it just adds to your accolades being a trans woman. I think was the bullying rough growing up and then going on to being a business owner. So
the what?
Bullying.
Bullying?
Yeah, like from
at an early age.
Yeah. So when did you say you started transitioning?
So, well, when I was little, I kind of knew I was different. So growing up, you know, I didn't have the resources. Living on a reservation back in 80s, we didn't have internet. We didn't have anything like that to read on. So growing up, I kind of just not kept it to myself, but it was always in the back of my mind that I was different. And then I started to want to play with girls. I wanted boys to chase me, but I forgot. Someone told me, I don't remember if it was a teacher or it was someone who told me that, you know, boys don't chase boys. And So that was just something that I had to grow up with, and there was not really a lot of bullying. I think just a lot of people who would joke with me, or it wasn't bad for me.
Yeah.
Because I've heard much worse, but mine was not that bad. And then
Right.
growing up, it was okay. It was fine. I've been called sissy. I've been called queer. I've been called fag. But that was just something I grew up with. And in high school, I think I was very closed in to where I didn't tell anybody I was gay, whatever. At the time, I just thought I was gay. And people already knew. I mean, I couldn't hide from it because you could just tell. Because I grew up very feminine. And out of high school, I really couldn't find myself too. I didn't know if I was still gay, if I wanted to transition. That didn't change until like 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
So that's when I started slowly growing out my hair, wearing women's clothing, and it wasn't until 2010 or 11 that I started taking hormones.
Oh wow! So it's a long process.
Yeah,
huh?
it was a long process, and I think when I sobered up, that's when I knew this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think I would be happy if I did this for myself. So I started not reading up on it, but trying to find someone who I can see to do that for me. So I went to the hospital here in Tuba, and the lady was really nice enough to get me in, and we talked for about an hour or so.
Yeah.
And it was new to her. She never heard about someone who wanted to transition.
Oh wow.
So she told me that she was going to read up on it and give her about a couple of weeks. And I heard back from her, and she told me to come back in, and she read up on it, and she's like, so I can get you on it, but you're going to have to...
It's okay. No, I have a recording here.
So you're going to have to see a psychiatrist, which I saw there at Mental Health. And he had an interview with me, and I just talked to him, and I guess he's the one who gave the okay. So once he gave the approval, the doctor that I was seeing she prescribed me hormones.
Yeah.
And it was nice because here at the hospital gave me hormones.
Yeah, that's actually really surprising to me.
This was back in 2010, 11. So I didn't tell anybody I was taking them. I only told a few of my friends. I didn't tell my friends who I was living with I was taking them. So I started taking hormone, estrogen, and I started taking Spurnos. And then from there it just really changed. And then I could see I can see a difference. I could feel the difference, and but like I said, I was never bullied when I was growing up. Probably in my 20s, when a group of my friends and I would go out, people would call us queers, fags. It was just something we grew up with, and it wasn't really something that made me upset. We just laughed about it.
Interesting. I know, so like with actually before we get to that, I actually wanted to ask you about, you mentioned I think twice now that you sobered up. Did you struggle with like alcoholism or?
I did. I've had 3 DUIs, all within 2 years, and I think my wake-up call was driving to Flag, and I almost drove off the road.
Yeah.
And my roommates at the time I was living with told me that if I don't straighten up, they were going to kick me out.
Yeah.
And I lost my job. This was after I completed my drug court DUI program.
Yeah.
So I really thought of it, and I went to outpatient rehab at the guidance center in Flagstaff. So they helped me out there, and I was there for about 4 months. and after that I was done with it, and I was ready to live a sober life, but now I had to do it on my own.
Mm.
But I had my friends who I was living with there for me, and they were always there for me whenever I felt like I wanted to drink.
Yeah.
So they kind of stopped drinking also, and we would go out, but I wouldn't drink, of course, and they would not drink. So we'd just go out and just sit around and, watch people and then go home. But yeah, I mean, it was a struggle for me, drinking, going out, and I think that's the reason why I was just kind of doing that a lot. It was because I didn't want to really live the life I was living.
Uh-huh.
I was having fun with my friends, forgetting everything that is happening in my life and all the negative, just everything negative in my life was just really not painful, but it just stuck to me. And it was just like, I don't want to feel this. And I would drink with my friends and it would just be gone. But, we drank every weekend. We drank even on Mondays all the way to Wednesday.
Wow.
But, those are just memories that some were good, some were bad. I can think of right now, and
Uh-huh.
but living a sober life is good. I
That's
like
awesome. That's really cool. I know, like, one of the things that really does plague the Navajo Nation is alcoholism. But to hear that how many years sober did you say?
It's going to be 11 in May.
Wow, that's an awesome accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah, for me, I don't drink and I don't smoke, but it's funny because the only story I have with drinking is, like, I was like 5 or 6, I don't know. I was at my uncle's house and he happened to drink, and I asked him, like, hey, can I get a soda? He's like, yeah, it's in the fridge. So I go to the fridge, and there's a can, silver can, it's got a mountain on it. I was like, there's no soda in here. I figure that's Diet Mountain Dew or something. So I grab it, and again, I'm just a little kid. I crack it open and I drink it, and I just hear R.A. Monkbar just heard, like, me gag, and I spit it out. I was like, Uncle, your soda's spoiled. And he runs over, he looks at it, he's like, ah, and he slaps it out of my hand. And like, that's the only experience I have with drinking. It's funny. But going back, okay, so I actually want to touch on that. Like, that's really cool. And growing up the way you did, moving from, or growing into sobriety, into your transition. Let's see, how was I going with this? I was going to talk about the community, how it's accepting. Is accepting the right word, or is it more like is that like the commonality that you're looking for? Just that people don't see you as trans, they just kind of know you're there and you're living the life you choose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think living on the res is just it's different. Living on the res and being trans.
Mm-hmm.
I think people who want to be mean will say it intentionally to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But, I do have a lot of my clients, my friends, who respect me as a woman, and they would always refer me to as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think it's right now. It's just like I really don't care what people think. Sometimes it gets in my head to where it makes me feel like, am I wanting to do this? Do I still want to transition?
Yeah.
When one person says something to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It was like that before, but I think right now I'm just really not feeding into their negativity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's really about accepting. I think I'm comfortable with who are in my circle.
Yeah.
And the ones that aren't, I just don't want to be associated with them. Because we do have people that come here and are not rude, but you can just tell that they, I don't know, I can feel that. And it's just like, it makes me uncomfortable to where I want them to leave, but I'm cutting their hair.
Yeah.
So I would have to go like fast, cut their hair and get them out. And then, so, you know, some people are just like that, but I think not the majority, but I'm very blessed to have the ones that are coming here, supporting the business, my business, and not care what they think of me.
Not care who's cutting hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I think one of the arguments coming from the right, and for the most part, that's where I typically lean politically. I tend to have I agree more with conservative Republican political ideologies. One of the arguments from the right is that they're so against the trans community, or even kids transitioning, and it's because of the high suicide rate that comes with trans people. One of the thoughts is that if we let, as a society, if we let kids transition at an early age, it'll correlate to the high suicidality from trans people as adults. It'll correlate into kids. That's one of the. So they say that if we support transitioning, we're supporting basically death to the people. What do you?
The people.
Like, well, the trans community, supporting death to the trans community, because of the high correlation between the suicide rate and people who are trans. Yeah. So like what I was saying, I don't necessarily follow this, but because I do read a lot of stuff about the right and what they believe in, is that if we support people transitioning, we're basically supporting death because of the high suicide rate that correlates with transitioning.
Wouldn't
individuals.
that be the opposite?
How so?
So, when I was growing up, like I said, I wanted to become a woman, but I had no resource to do that. Now, kids who are younger than, like 5, 6, are wanting to become girls. Girls want to become boys. Boys want to become girls. Now they can do that. I think it's just the way they are brought up. If they were brought up in a conservative family, it would be different. If you were brought up in a family where they really didn't care, they would go and do that because they love their child. They want them to be happy. If you take that away from them, things might happen. Drinking, drugs, and it will have an effect on a child, and that's when it leads to suicide. I mean, I've seen like kids who want to change, who want to become like a trans girl, wants to be who she wants to be, but she gets taunted, she gets name called. And because of that, they commit suicide because no one's accepting them. And I don't know, it's just, I read up on a lot of these articles or, news that I follow on social media. Where kids are taking their own lives because they can't be who they want to be. Where they're being taunted and made fun of by other kids or by other people. It's sad. And to have them think the opposite it's not human. But I do have friends who had or had taken their lives
Yeah.
because their family wasn't accepting them.
Mm.
So, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that my parents were accepting. I don't know where I would be if they weren't.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have this place. I don't know. But, it's a touchy subject for me because
Yeah.
it's just sad.
Mm. I agree. Suicide's already really, really bad on the res, but again, it seems like with the trans community, things tend to just be multiplied. I think, again, it's not something I back as far as coming from the right, but one of the I guess you could say the counter arguments. So you think that if families were had to have been more accepting, they could lower, or it would lower the suicide rate.
Yeah, I think it would lower the suicide rate if family or parents were more accepting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would change a lot.
One article I read was I don't know what kind of article it was. Oh gosh, it must have been a video because I can't think of where I read it from. But I don't know if you ever heard of Ben Shapiro. No, so he's this very, very big public conservative voice, and one of the things, I'm pretty sure it's video, one of the things he said was, and I don't really have the information to back it, so don't hold it to me, was that right now, I think before in the early 2000s, 90s or something like that, the suicide rate in the trans community was upwards of 60%. And then even correlating, or even in today's society, the suicide rate among the trans community, or I think it might have just been the gay community in general, or LGBT community, was still upwards of 60%. So the counter argument from the right is that even if people had to have been more accepting, like it wouldn't have any effect on the suicide rate. Again, it's not, I don't have a problem with people. But those are just some statistics I've heard, just something for you to ponder. I think, like I said, suicide rate on the reservation is already ridiculous, and things just happen to be multiplied. It's usually multiplied too in the negative the negative direction towards the trans community. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you emotional. I wasn't. I didn't mean. It's not what I want. And I was just. But do you want me to?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, how do you feel about the new administration? I know you said you don't like politics, but I just kind of like to get people's perspectives with the Biden-Harris administration.
I'm glad that they won.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I have really no other things to say about it. Like I said, I really don't like to talk about politics. Mm-hmm. It really makes people upset, and so I'm glad that we have a new president, and hopefully we see change. And I've seen some changes in the LGBT community since he's been in office. So I'm happy about that, and I think he's going to be doing a lot more for us, and hopefully the change I was hoping for would be sometime soon.
I see. Me, like I said, I typically lean right, so I have my qualms with Biden, but I kind of remain hopeful and optimistic about any presidency. That's what I did with Trump. When I was growing up, I was very left-leaning. My entire family's left-leaning. Garrett's and our whole neck of the woods, very far left-leaning family. And when Trump took office, I was like I thought we were fucked, and I was optimistic about it. Like I can't judge someone for a job they haven't done yet. So
Yeah.
that's my perspective on Biden. As much as I don't like the guy, and I'm remaining optimistic, I'll give him a chance. Did the same thing with Trump. But did you hear he's pushing for a third stimulus? Were you being a business owner? Were you eligible? How were you eligible for, or were you eligible for the the stimuli that came during the pandemic?
Oh, the one that we all got from the government?
Yeah. Did it?
It helped. I mean, it helped.
Mm.
And I got the second one. I think that was the 6th.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, it's still in the it's not in my account, it's in the business account. I have to get that out. But I mean, it's helping us. I don't know about the third, but if it is, I think it would be nice to have, because right now with this whole thing going on, I think I've lost 60% of, I think, profit loss of 60%.
Damn.
So, that's what it is now. But it would be nice, and but I'm happy that the Navajo Nation Shopping Center is helping us any way they can.
Really?
Through this whole pandemic. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how long it takes, because I think hopefully, I don't know, I just can't say when it's gonna get better. I'm just gonna take it day by day, because I don't want to say it's gonna get better.
I see. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
All right. Just want to check up on you. Do you have any extracurricular activities that you on your downtime? What do you like to do to pass the time?
So when we were closed here for about a month, I can't stay home. I have to keep busy. I found a job in Farmington. I was cutting hair out there for about 3 weeks, and downtime, that was supposed to be my downtime, taking 3 weeks off, but I can't stay home. I do like to run. I got back into running when the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was not going to run anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's what spironolactone does. It's a dehydration pill.
Yeah.
So I had to constantly hydrate my body. So it kind of just really played a huge role to where I wasn't able to run 6 miles in 55 minutes anymore. It became an hour and 15 minutes. So,
That's...
And I started getting back into it, like I said, when the pandemic hit. But I'm off of spironolactone. I did have my second surgery, because I had my first one, which were my implants. My second one I did 2 years ago, and that was an orchiectomy. Do you know what an orchiectomy is?
No.
So, taking the spironolactone, it just really, I don't know if that was what really made me feel very emotional. I know that was part of, the hormones was part of it, but the spironolactones really made me, I don't know, depressed, and I wanted to get back into running, and I just really thought that was weighing me down. And I just wanted to get off of it. So I asked my doctor what she can do, and she told me that I can get an orchiectomy, which is the removal of the testicles. And she said that, because my doctor's out in Gallup, and she said that you're going to have to see the doctor who does that, but he won't do that unless if you sit down with him, which was already uncomfortable for me, because so I went and talked to him, and he talked me through it, and he said he can do it. So we set up a date, and I got an orchiectomy done, and they took out my testicles, and now I don't have to take spironolactone because I'm not producing testosterone anymore.
Uh-huh.
So after that happened, a year later, I could feel a difference in my running. I can go farther. I'm not as fast, but I can go farther.
Uh-huh.
And then when the pandemic hit, I just been running 3-4 times a week, and then I got back into it, and then since then I just been running a lot. And with work here, I haven't ran since Monday. So, and then living out in Farmington with my friend, we just stayed home. I didn't really run out there because there wasn't really any places to run.
Yeah.
And I'm really cautious where I'm at because being trans, something might happen. So I just kind of really keep it safe.
I see.
And that's the only thing that I do. And I used to like traveling, but not in a while. Hang out with friends, go hiking, and I used to do Orange Theory, but I stopped doing that too a year ago. Do you know what Orange Theory is?
Nope.
It's a fitness place. I think they have it nationwide, and they have one in Flagstaff. So you do all these workouts. It's like an hour workout. And then it's really good, but like I said, right now it's not the time to go back. I think when everything goes back to what somewhat normal, I'll go back. But in the meantime,
I couldn't do 6 miles if I tried. Yeah, I'm so out of shape. So I won't even race you. I'll hold you to it. All right. So we're a little over an hour. Where is your shop located so that people can?
We are in Tuba City Shopping Center, Suite 11. If you're familiar with it, we're 2 doors down from Pizza Edge. But Studio 11 Hair Salon. We do men's cut, women, color, highlights, balayage, baby lights, waxing, eyebrow waxing, lip, chin. That's about it. That's what we do here.
Do you have any kind of social media profile for your establishment, or?
I think just my name, Esplin, Esplin Lee. There is a Studio 11 Facebook where people can check in when they're here and give us, a review. But I have 2 hairdressers here now, Cameron and Christy, and we might be having someone here in April. She's a barber.
Nice.
But we'll see what happens.
Okay. You should put up an Instagram page if you have clients that are comfortable with showing off their hair. I think any exposure is good exposure.
I had a friend who did that for me, but I can't get into it because she has a password, and I don't really talk to her anymore. So
I see.
I'm not really a huge Instagram fanatic. Yeah. It's too much for me. Even Snapchat's too much for me. I think the only thing that I'm always on is Facebook.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if that's going to change. I mean, if I can find someone who can make me another page, that would be great. But it's hard to keep up with all these pages because I'm always busy.
Yeah. Sounds. All right. Well, I definitely enjoyed our time, Esplin.